What if every single word you spoke suddenly transformed into a tangible object, materializing right before your eyes, and from that moment on, you had to live inside the world you built with your own conversations? Imagine the first time it happens. Maybe you're casually chatting with a friend, saying something simple like, "Hello," and out of thin air, a small glowing orb shaped like the word itself appears, pulsing softly in your palm. You laugh it off, thinking it's a trick of the light, until you realize that every sentence you utter drops objects into your space like leaves falling from a tree. And those objects don't just disappear, they stay, accumulating around you, creating a cluttered landscape made from your thoughts and words. At first, it's whimsical, colorful letters, delicate shapes, maybe even floating phrases that hover in the air like ghostly poetry. But then the novelty fades and reality sets in. You can't stop talking, and the objects keep piling up. With each conversation, your environment grows stranger and more complex. A single angry word might burst into a jagged shard of glass, sharp and cold, while a kind phrase sprouts a blooming flower or a gentle breeze that rustles the air. Your world becomes a wild garden of language, but also a chaotic maze where careless words create barriers, confusion, and clutter. People start avoiding you, not because you're boring or awkward, but because every greeting, every complaint, every joke literally changes the space around you. Imagine trying to hold a conversation in a room that's filling with stacks of words you never meant to keep, towering piles of sorry, s and please s, walls of no's that block your path, and slippery puddles of maybes pooling beneath your feet. It's exhausting, frustrating, and endlessly fascinating all at once. But here's the twist. The objects don't just sit there inert. They interact with the world in unexpected ways. A compliment might take the form of a warm, glowing ember that spreads light and warmth to those nearby, while a lie becomes a twisted, unstable shape that warps and distorts everything it touches. Over time, you begin to understand that your words have power far beyond communication. They are the building blocks of your reality. And with great power comes great responsibility. Every whispered secret becomes a hidden alcove, every shout a storm cloud ready to burst. You try to speak carefully, but human nature is messy. Fear, anger, joy, love, all spill out uncontrollably, and your world reflects it in wild, unpredictable ways. Society around you changes too. Some people become builders, speaking carefully to craft beautiful, harmonious environments filled with light and music. Others spiral into chaos, their harsh words spawning dark forests of doubt and despair. Governments try to regulate speech, not to control ideas, but to manage the physical consequences of language. Schools teach not only literacy, but wordcraft, how to build safely, how to dismantle harmful objects, how to navigate this new reality where silence can be golden and a single phrase might topple cities. People begin to cherish silence, and pauses become sacred moments where the world can breathe and settle. The quiet becomes a refuge from the overwhelming clutter of spoken words. And then there's the loneliness. What happens when you realize that your closest relationships are built not just on trust, but on the very shapes and forms your words have created? What if a heartfelt apology takes the form of a fragile glass sculpture, delicate and easy to shatter? What if love becomes a sprawling, living garden that needs constant tending, or anger a wildfire that threatens to consume everything? You start to see communication not as mere exchange, but as creation and destruction, and the emotional stakes become higher than ever. Sometimes you long for the old days when words were just sounds, not things you had to live with. In the end, you confront the ultimate question. If your world is built by your words, what kind of world do you want to live in? One filled with light and laughter, or shadows and storms? Could you rebuild, reshape, undo what you've created, or are you forever trapped in a landscape of your own making? And what about the words unspoken? The silences that hold secrets and possibilities? Maybe those are the most powerful objects of all, waiting patiently for you to discover their shape. Because if words are worlds, then silence is the space where all worlds begin.